Good afternoon, everybody. Christine Varconi here in the NBC4i Streaming Center with NBC4i digital anchor Cynthia Rossi with her latest investigation. Cynthia, actually, grab that mic for me. Sorry, missed that one step. So many steps, folks. Just want to say hello to everybody who just started watching. Cheryl, starting off with a question here. What happened inside the jail? This is nothing. This investigation has nothing to do with what's happening inside the jail. Cynthia, tell us a little bit about your investigation and what did you discover?
Well, what I started looking at Nelsonville because it seemed to have more than its fair share of problems with people on the streets who were messed up on drugs or high, needles found on the ground, children having to walk to school or travel with people being high there. And it's a little town, it's a sweet little town, and it just seemed to have more than its fair share of problems. And so I started watching Nelsonville, reading all of the police reports, reading a Facebook page that's been created about Nelsonville, and just the amount of misery that the townsfolk were going through was heartbreaking to me, and I wanted to know more. And so I decided to start talking to different people and digging around. I spent a day over at Nelsonville. I mean, that's a hot second compared to the lifetime that other people spend in the town that they love. But I wanted to know what was going on. And what I found out from the police chief and the city manager was that there is a problem with people being discharged from the Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail and having nowhere to go. They come out, sometimes the city manager says that they have no shoes, or the chief of police said they may have very little in their pocket, and they're walked down the hill from the jail into the town. And then the chief of police said, well, then if that person is an addict and they're looking to get high, then they may be spending their last little bit of money that they have to get high, and they have no way of getting out, and then they're staying there for much longer than a person would if they were picked up. Now, the jail warden says he doesn't know how many people walk down the hill, as they call it in the town, or are picked up. He says quite a few people get picked up, and that if somebody's homeless, they try to reach out for a service for that person. But according to the city manager and the chief of police, just a lot of folks are walking down the hill. And the jail said that in the last six months, it had about 1,377 people discharged from that jail. And they're coming in from all 5 counties because many counties use that regional jail. So they're coming in from lots of places in the area. They need to go back to those places. But if they're poor and they don't have somebody to take them home, or they're addicted, they literally walk into town and stay there.
Yeah, and Cynthia, you really spent a lot of time researching this. How did this get on your radar in the first place? It is a little tiny town, as people are saying here, so much potential, but they're agreeing with you that seems like it's being overtaken by drugs, unfortunately.
It's a beautiful little town, and it's really ripe for rejuvenation and coming to life.
I know they have a great music festival there that
yes,
people enjoy.
The people are super nice. They help each other. They try to help as much as they can, but they're overwhelmed. This is an imbalance in their population. They're getting more people into their population than they would naturally have who have addiction problems. And then when you have that kind of imbalance, it's very difficult for a little town of 3,000 people to service that need, which didn't come from your town in the first place.
So I have a question. When a lot of so this is a prison or a jail?
It's a regional jail.
Okay.
It was created to service the surrounding counties. And one of the things that I found in just talking to the warden, who was helpful with the numbers, is that Athens County Sheriff actually can get 389 inmates into that jail in the last 6 months. But Nelsonville only got 58 inmates in. Nelsonville often calls up to the jail and says, we need to bring you a prisoner, and the jail refuses. They say, we are full. Well, what's happening then is that those people who have come from surrounding areas then really do have to stay in Nelsonville. They're letting them go and walk around to cause problems for the townsfolk. And there's no place, they can't get them back inside to be processed.
So also something that I'm wondering about when these people are released, a lot of times, familiar with like a parole system, do they not have parole officers to answer to? Do they not have to go back to a specific place and they're just free to go, or do they have any accountability as far as that goes?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, those are specific instances.
Yeah.
I do know that we're going to be doing some other articles on the police chief was talking to me about warrants that cannot be served because one of the judges doesn't want them to be served, and so they have to serve them anyway. It's just, they're very hamstrung, they're very frustrated, they do great policing. While I was there, I went for a ride along with one of the officers, and he stopped a car. The car had suspected methamphetamine in it. The car also had children in it. And eventually the person had to be let go because there was nobody to pick up the kids. And
wow, talk about having your hands tied.
Yeah, they're just I when I went around the town, I was shown where people who were addicted or had other kinds of problems were actually pulling out the bricks of the foundations of some of the houses to get underneath the houses to stay. Because they were literally looking for any kind of hole they could get into.
Right.
The person who was showing me the town said that, it could be an attic down there. It could, who knows what they're doing. But when you've got so many people coming into this little town, and when you look at it on the map, it's surrounded by the Zaleski, the Wayne National Forest. It's in this beautiful location, just a gorgeous little town. But because it's surrounded and there's no way out, when those people walk down the hill and decide to stay in Nelsonville, the police can't return them back to the jail because the jail is not able to take all the people that the police present.
I'm curious about this warden, Cynthia. When you spoke to him, did he see this as a problem? Was he empathetic towards the city of Nelsonville and their police chief and what they're going through as far as this influx of people who are essentially homeless?
He said that he didn't have any control over what happened to somebody when they left his doors because they were a free person, and that's correct.
He might not have control, but he certainly might have influence. Just my perception on that.
Well, I did ask, have you ever taken an exit survey as to where these people are going after they leave the jail? And no, that hadn't happened. Honestly, I think there's a lot of communication that needs to be done between the city manager, the chief of police, and the jail warden to get some of these problems fixed. Otherwise, I don't see that that Nelsonville is going to be able to break out of this cycle. I think they've kind of been ignored a little bit in terms of that their need is actually real and it's actually immediate and it actually needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, because you think people were saying, that happens in the city of Columbus. Yes, but we're such a huge city. We have so many resources, tax dollars, homeless shelters for these people to go. We have plenty of places where they can detox. A little town like Nelsonville, they don't have that, so they do need the help.
Well, let's put it into perspective for the viewer. You have 3,000 people in your town. You had in the last 6 months 1,300 people released from the Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail. If even a good percentage of those people, and we don't know how many, walk down the hill and decide to take up residence in Nelsonville, and they do that in over the course of a year, it could be 3,000 people released from that jail, right?
Yeah.
So that's the whole population of Nelsonville. It doesn't take long for there to be a buildup to create an imbalance. I mean, we all have people in our communities that we need to care for. And I think that the citizens of Nelsonville are fabulous at that. I think they have reached out. I think there was a table out with food on it. There's ways that people reach out through the churches for clothes, for food, for help of all kinds, and the citizens are responding, but there's just, the flow is continuous, and it's overwhelming.
I'm sure it's a large burden for a
small
town.
And it's continuous flow.
Yeah.
It's not like it flowed in and then it stopped.
Right.
It's a river of people that are
Going
coming
in and
down.
out.
And if you think you had that kind of influx into a neighborhood in Columbus that was 3,000 people, you would soon have an imbalance in that place.
Yeah, just think of one zip code in Columbus getting all of these people.
Right.
So to put that in perspective,
Yes.
like you said. Cynthia, I know this is a series that you're doing. What is next in this series? What can we look forward to?
Well, I'm going to be posting later today a video of a person who jumped off a balcony. I guess it's one of the ways that people are finding out of the jail, are getting out of the jail. According to the city manager, I'm going to be doing a little bit more research on that before I post it. But the other thing is that the jail doesn't really pay anything. It doesn't really pay its way in the city of Nelsonville. It's tax exempt from property taxes. The only thing it pays is a residential sewer bill, and it pays a residential rate. It doesn't pay an industrial rate. And then that sewer actually backs up onto the property of City Hall in the summertime and causes it causes an outflow problem there.
That's dangerous.
So really it's getting off scot-free. It's creating a problem that's not being addressed, that's been happening over time, and yet it doesn't contribute materially, financially to the city at all.
Who is the overhead people that own this jail? Is it privately owned? Is it a state?
It's run by the commissioners of the counties and the sheriffs. Okay. So there's a board, and that board meets, and it has the commissioners and the sheriffs, and they decide what goes on at the jail.
I'm curious to wonder if any of those people live in Nelsonville.
I'd be curious too. I highly
Makes you
doubt
wonder.
it. I highly doubt it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, makes you wonder. All right, Cynthia, we're looking forward to that. If you are watching on NBC4i.com right now, scroll down, watch the video. It is very powerful. This isn't a metaphoric hill. This is a hill. I saw the video. It is an actual hill that these people are. Is this a?
Well, that wasn't the hill that's in the video. Is not the hill. That's the jail. It's a different hill.
Got it.
The hill is up on. It's like how in Ohio we have these little mountains, and then it's quite far up the the hill, but that's a different hill in Nelsonville.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to that. If you're watching, like I said, on NBC4i.com right now, the video is just below the one you are watching right now. Read the article. And if you are watching on Facebook, we thank you guys for joining with us and staying with us. And click the link in the description of this video to see more and hear more from the sheriff and more on Cynthia's investigation. And come back tomorrow, and we will post links to Cynthia's continued series on this as well. Cynthia, anything else you'd like to add?
I just want to say that I really believe in the town of Nelsonville. I think that they've had a lot of problems with good management. They've got some good management in now, and they've got a good new chief of police and a good new department. They've got a canine, which he's just always out doing drug busts with his handler, Chris Jones. I'm just shocked that the jail doesn't contribute financially to the city of Nelsonville. That was the biggest takeaway from me, is apart from this sewer bill. Now they say, well, the employees pay city taxes. Well, that's the employees paying the taxes. That's not the jail paying taxes.
Right. And you think of a big corporation coming
Yes.
into a small town,
Yes.
people get excited because they're going to be
Yes.
paying a corporate tax. This isn't a
Yes.
corporation, so it's not paying the corporate tax. So it's
Yes. It's
getting a lot out of the city while not contributing to the schools, to the
right.
programs. So
And also I looked on the jail website. They were asking for employees, and it was like they were paying like $12.75 an hour.
it's not a
So
livable
to
wage.
cite that and saying, oh well, our employees pay these taxes to the city is laughable
Yeah,
to me.
it's not a very
It's
high
not it's
wage.
not enough to redress this problem that has been absolutely damaging and bringing this city to its knees,
All
in
right.
my opinion.
Yeah. Well, you're the one who got down there and took a look when a lot of people really, like you said, overlooked this town. So I know the people of Nelsonville appreciate you having interest in investigating this, Cynthia. So we'll check out more on NBC4i.com. Bye.